Hello everybody, nice to be back. I've been away for a little bit. I was poorly, so I haven't done any videos for a while. Today we're going to be covering the Kings of War series of giants. On the right hand side I have what I like to call the standard giant. Got this recently off eBay for about £20. Very reasonable, very big and impressive giant on the tabletop. And we're going to be unboxing, well, in fact we're only going to unbox the one on the left, which is the Frost Giant, and there is a reason behind that. There is a method to my madness. What it is the Frost Giant is the giant itself with an extras pack. It'll become fairly obvious when I actually open the box up and start showing you. So you're going to get a 2-for-1 here. There's no point in reviewing both of these because, like I say, the Frost Giant is the giant itself in complete, just with a box of extras. So as I run through it, I promise you, it will become much more clear as we go through it. So Kings of War base giant, like I say, I paid £20 for this on eBay. You can pay slightly more. I think about 25 if you buy it retail off Amazon or anywhere, but still very, very good value for a miniature of this size. Good quality resin, and well worth the money. The Frost Giant, I had to pay £42 roughly for this one, so it's more than double the price, which does seem a little bit expensive, but I still think it's reasonable when you compare it to Games Workshop's. Now, like I say, I'm only going to unbox the one on the left, the Frost Giant, because they are the same model with extras. So we'll get rid of the standard giant now. I will be showing you one of these completed at the end. I haven't actually completed, I haven't built one of these Frost Giants. This is why I bit the bullet, for want of a better term, paid the extra money so that we could have a look at this one. And I've been sort of desperate to give it a paint to try and do all the blue skin and blue flesh and skin and that. Very nice model, and without any further ado, let's move on to the actual box in itself. Okay, so when we open the box, what you end up with is a box with 2 bags in it. Like I said, it's the standard giant, which is in the dark grey resin, with an extras pack, which is the light grey resin. So we'll go through the standard giant first. I'll show you which components you need to use and which become spare, and then we'll run through the extras which make up the Frost Giant. So opening this one up, I've already torn it open because, you know, I'm actually holding the webcam here. So when you open it up, lots and lots of really, really nice components. You get, I'll just pull this apart here a little bit. You've got main torso, as I like to call it, and if we zoom in you can have a look. There you go. Yeah, really sort of nice detail on that one. You know, that's the sort of upper, well, the lower torso. You've got an upper torso here. There we go. And that basically, I'll just have to put the webcam down a minute. We'll just move the box out of the way. In fact, what we'll do, we'll tip all these bits out of here. Right, so what we've got here, move all the other components away. That's the components there in total. That's what you get for the standard giant and the Frost Giant. But for the standard giant, they're the components. Starting off with the main sort of torso, comes in two pieces. You get the lower torso there. Just bring the webcam round so we can get to focus. There we go. Quite good crisp detail. You've got some really nice sort of little touches with the shields on there. Shield on the front. A lot of ropes around him, so, you know, quite a bit of painting to do. And then you've got the upper torso here with the neck. You've got ropes coming round again with a little shield on there. And then the back of it there, you've got ropes coming round again with another shield on there. Very easy to fit that particular part to this one. You just literally slot it together, and as you can see, the shield therein cuts into the torso, and it does fit quite nicely. I mean, obviously it's going to need a bit of model filler. You know, all these sort of resin casts do. Maybe just a little bit of filing as well. So that's your main torso. Goes together. no real need to pin because there is quite a big insert here, so there's no need to pin these particular parts together. So that's your main torso. You do use that when you're building the Frost Giant. What I'm going to do, the reason I'm doing it this way is to show you the components that you'll use for the Frost Giant, and then we'll move on to the bits that you won't use for the Frost Giant. So you definitely use the upper and lower torso for the Frost Giant. You've then got this part here, which is the hips don't lie a little bit, so you've got the hips of the Giant itself. One of the things I've noticed with these is I've built quite a few of these standard Giant models now, and this particular part doesn't ever seem to fit. It just needs a little bit of manipulation, a little bit of filing, and then filling to fit, but not too bad. And once you've got it together and it's fitting, it does fit quite well. So that's these four parts. These four parts here actually form the main body of the Giant. Okay, so we'll take these, insert them into there, and that there, I mean, I know I haven't filed it and got it lined up properly, but it gives you an idea of how the main torso goes together. So that's your main torso put together there. Quite nice model, I think, yeah. The next thing you've got is your left and right legs, upper leg. So these are quite obvious that these sort of tape rope parts here go to the outside of the model. So that one's that leg. And if you look on this side here, again, you've got this tape or whatever you want to call it. That's there. That goes on the outside of the other leg. So you can't really mix the legs around, if you remember that. They'll only fit on each side like that. So that more or less is the torso complete. So there we go. Torso's all done there. You've got really nice detail. And looks quite good. Now, moving on to the components that you won't be using if you build a Frost Giant. You've got your arms. So I'm just going to leave that as it is to show you when we do the Frost Giant. You've got your arms here. So you end up with actually 4 arms in the standard Giant model. Okay, so we've got 4 arms there. Just bring that down like that. So basically, the first one we're going to bring in is this one, which is one of the right arm options. As you can see there, slight bend on the resin on that one. The best way when you get a bend on the resin like this, if you're going to straighten it out, is to drop it into very, very hot water and soften it, and then gradually, weight it and allow it to cool. And then when it cools, it'll take on its new shape. If you try and force these resin miniatures cold, there's a very good chance they'll crack. So just another little tip for you there. He's basically, he's got his arm there, bare arm here, couple of shields strapped to his arm there. There's a little bit of armour, and then a door frame or a window shutter, whatever it is, an actual door itself or whatever, or part of a door, with the little hinges on there, and then metal components to form the blade. Looks really good, this, when it's painted up. So that's one of the options for the right arm. The other option for the right arm, and I'll be showing you this on the miniature that I've completed later, is this huge tree trunk or big branch. It looks more like a tree trunk to scale. It is absolutely massive, and I would advise that whenever you're putting the arms on these to pin them, you definitely have to pin this because it won't hold in place otherwise. The weight of this is quite a lot, so it does need pinning. Due to the way it's built, but it looks really impressive, as I'll show you when I show you the finished model at the end. Very nice detail. You can see there with the hand and the fingernails, and then the trunk itself held together by leather strapping, and again bare arm, a little bit of strapping around the top there, but yeah, really nice. So obviously you've got to make a decision which left arm you're going to use. And then, of course, onto the right arm. So you've got right arm with a shield, again like a door, and it's just got an empty hand here. Again, I pin all the arms on these particular models just for extra strength. This one's not particularly heavy, and you might get away with not pinning it, but I always like to, drill and pin my arms on most of my resin models just to give them that bit of extra strength. The open hand on this, you do get another component. You get a little guy here who's strapped up, who's probably going to be a snackaroo for the Giant at some point, and it does actually look quite good when you put it into the hand. Okay, so that could be an option for you. I've done that, and I've also hung onto the belt of the main model, this particular one, and I've just drilled, put a pin through the feet and then hung it on the belt like that. Either one, it looks good. Obviously, you don't have to. You can leave it off. It's just an option. So that's option 1 on the left arm. And then option 2 on the left arm, again, is an arm that's just open. You could put the little man in there if you wanted again. What you notice with this one, I'll just bring it up so you can see it on camera, you've got little holes there. You've got a shield on the arm with leather straps on, and you've got some little holes. And what you can do is you can put arrows into there, and you do actually get a little pack of arrows there. I don't know if you can see those through the plastic very well, but you get a little pack of arrows, and they can go into there, and they look like, somebody's been shooting arrows at him, and his arm has worked, and he's carried on. It does look really good. I've used them on the one I've built, which I'll be showing you at the end of the video to give you an idea of how it can look. Really nice crisp modelling. Again, I would still pin this one on, and they don't tend to fit very well to the model, because obviously you need to be able to have the angle of where you're going to put them. Pardon me. So they do look good, but I do pin them, and I do put milliput between the model and the arm itself, just a thin layer. So that's all your arm options. But unfortunately for the Frost Giant, they end up in the spare box. So put those away. 2 feet. You've got a left and a right. No other option on these. Basically bare feet with just a bit of leather strapping round, and he's got some wood planks put into it to form armour again on his shins there. Nice looking model. You can see if you can see there with the toenails and stuff. So yeah, that's 1 foot, and then of course the other foot. So you got your left and right feet. Like I say, there's in the standard Giant model. Trying to get the blooming camera to focus. Come on. There we go. So basically, with the standard Giant model, this is the only feet option. But again, with the Ice model, these are surplus because you do get different feet in it. Cape option. So you've got a cape option with the standard Giant. You won't be able to use this on the Ice Giant because it won't fit. Standard sort of, cape design, little bits of stitching, and then planks at the back there, I presume to give armour to his neck. And then it comes across, and it just if you want to use this as an option, you don't even have to use it, because obviously with the torso you can leave the torso itself bare. But if you actually want to put it on, and it is quite fiddly to get it on, just bear with me a second. So just going to try and clunk it on. There she goes, she's on. Right, so I've clipped that on now, and it goes on. It's very, very tight, I think that, but it does look quite good once it's on to the standard Giant model, and it does paint up well. The one I'm going to show you has got it on, so you'll see it on and painted before I go. Okay, and then last but not least are the 2 head options. These are, remember, for the standard Giant, surplus again to the Ice Giant because he has his own head. I mean, there's no reason if you really wanted you couldn't use these on the Ice Giant, I suppose. But the whole point is, if you like me and you're building, the full set, you want the option of having a different head. So you get the one with but they've both got in effect male pattern baldness. But he's got his head he's got his hair. Bring it round. He's got his hair tied back, and then his mouth's slightly open. You can just see all his teeth there, and tied back in a ponytail at the back. So that's head option 1 for the standard Giant. And then head option 2, which I particularly like, is head option 2. Again, he's got his sort of male pattern baldness going on here. Long hair, not tied back this time, and then he's sort of in effect screaming or shouting. Really nice head, really nice detail on the teeth, and looks really good when it's completed. But like I was saying, the Ice Giant doesn't use these. So one of the things that occurred to me is just how many, bring them all in, how many components now will end up in the spares box. We'll just pile them up there so you can have a look. They're all the components from the standard Giant that you don't use in the Ice Giant. Okay, so all of those go in the spares box. I noticed a lot of people were selling like the head and torso and weapons and arms and things, and getting about £6 or £7 for them on eBay, so that could be an option. Or put them in your spares box and use them for conversions or, you know, options. So that's all you use from the standard Giant, are those components to make the main torso. The rest of it, like I say, is in the spares box. And then we're going to move on to the Ice Giant. So with the Ice Giant, you get all that and more. You get the light grey bag, which has, when we tip her out, all these components in. Okay, so you've got all these components in. This one here, for some reason, they haven't taken off the flashing. So when you open it up, this flashing's attached to the model itself, just like that, and you have to cut it off. I recommend getting yourself some snippers. You can buy these. I bought these at the local boys store because I live near York, and they weren't expensive. I think they were £3 or £4 or something. Worth the weight in gold, especially if you're doing a lot of resin models or even plastic models. Just stops you damaging stuff as you're taking them off the sprues. So more or less everything's on sprues. You just take them off and you end up with, you know, quite a bit of wasted resin. Now I tend to use this. I have an old coffee grinder, and what I do is I'll snip it up as best I can with the snippers and either use it like that, or I'll put it into the coffee grinder and smash it up and use it to make little rocks. I also save all the corks out the wine, do the same thing. So that's an option to save rather than just chucking that in the bin. You know, there is another use for it. Okay, so on to the components for this for the actual Ice Giant now. So head. This is the standard Ice Giant head. Really nice, long bushy beard, as I say. Again, completely bald this time. So the geezer's completely bald. Really nice detail on the face itself, and I think, you know, once it's done, it'll look really impressive with that. So that's the head. Then we've got the cape. This is why you can't really use the cape from the other option. Fantastic cape. This is sort of the main thing that makes this model. You've got the front of the cape there with bone armour this time, so it's got lots of different, you know, bones and rib cages and, you know, backbones and stuff to form the armour itself. That's the front piece there. Okay, and then you've got the back piece here, which I quite like. It's actually got the spine on it, look. And then, you know, large pieces of bone there for armour to protect his back, and then more bone on the edges there. So basically what happens is you take the standard dark grey components from the standard Giant model, and then you apply the light grey parts. If we go them the right way around, so that one goes on there like that. There we go. So that's the front part, and then the rear part goes on there like that. So there we go. So that's basically the new cape on the model itself. So that's a new cape there. Then you've got your head, which will go on like that. So as you can see, it's the lower part of the torso that remains the same as the standard Giant. So that's those particular parts with the head. Then you've got different arms. Only one option on the arms here. He's carrying a massive spear, is this guy. So when you put it together, you end up, I mean, it's going to need a little bit of cleaning up, is that, before it fits properly. But to give you some sort of idea, we'll just bring the camera out here, you can see there that he's got his arms there, and he's got this big massive spear. And then if you look at the top part of the spear, you've got these little square holes, and then you've got these components which are still on the sprue, which are the other spikes. So you can paint this as ice or even rock, you know, whatever takes your fancy. I don't see why, you know, you'd have to do it as ice, or, you know, either or. And that would look really, really good, really impressive weapon. But that's the only option for the ice giant. That's his 2 arms and his 1 weapon. Whereas, of course, you get 2 arms on each side, so you get 4-arm option in the standard giant. And then you've got his boots, which is the other part. Okay, so you've got these boots here. Again, really sort of nice detailing on them. Obviously, because it's an ice giant, these are completely sort of more insulated than the other feet. You can see there, that's one of the other feet there, sort of more or less bare with leather straps round, whereas this one here has got your leather straps round, fur, and then again more bone armour to protect him. Quite a nice look. And again, these just fit straight into the standard legs of the other model. So they'll look quite impressive. All in all, I have to say, for the extra nearly double this cost, because I paid £40 for this, you don't seem to get an awful lot more. It does seem expensive when you think that for the same price I can buy 2 of these, or for double the price I get 1 ice giant and a box of bits that I can't use. But comparing things like Games Workshop models, you know, even with the double the price, it's still good value for money. And if you can find a use for these or kick them back on eBay or something, it makes it, you know, still a very, very reasonable model. I bought it because I've built 5 or 6 of these standard giants. I've really enjoyed building them. So I thought, right, well, I'll bite the bullet and buy one of the ice giants and give it a go and see how it is. And it's to go into my own collection, this one. So, you know, I'll sit and get it done. And to be quite honest, I am quite pleased with the model. But if I was trying to buy giants for a wargaming army, I would stick to the standard giant and possibly not, you know, maybe have one of the ice giants, but not go too overboard. So that's basically what you get, depending which version you buy. Very, very good model, very crisp. And like I was saying to you earlier, I've brought in here the standard finished giant model. So this here is a standard giant model. I've gone for the really big tree trunk weapon in his right hand there. And then, as you can see, the head, the sort of one where he's screaming or shouting. And then this one here, he's got his arm open with the, his hand open rather, nothing in his hand there. But he's got the arrows. Remember I said about the arrows being stuck in his arm. So he's got the arrows stuck in his arm there. And then with the tree stump one, he's got the arrow stuck in his hand there. Capes round the shoulders. I've actually glued the cape on here. You can leave the cape, especially if you use the other head and manage to get it on and off. But with this head, it's very difficult to get the cape on and off. So I made the decision to glue the cape in place on this one. And I even put the little guy there dangling down off his belt. I just put a pin through his ankles to put him to the belt of him, so that he won't move. He can rotate a little bit. He's glued to the pin, not to the model. So if I did decide to take him off, I can just remove him, pull the pin, and then just put a bit of milliput in the hole. The base itself, done the base look. I've used some old Games Workshop skeleton parts there, just to put a bit of interest on the base. I've had to use quite a big base because this tree trunk weapon really, apart from the fact it sticks out and you don't want it to cause any trouble, it also gives the model much more stability having this really long base on it. When I've done the others, I've done a much smaller base. I've done a base of that size, when I've done the others. So, but with this one, I did the really big base, and I thought, well, I better have a bit of detail on it, a bit more interest. So that's what I've done. I've added it to there. Really nice models, regardless of which one you buy. Like I say, this one's a bargain. You'll pay anywhere up to about £25. That's in UK. You can't go wrong. And in comparison to the comparing it to the Games Workshop model, there's no competition. So get yourselves out, guys, get one of these models, get them built up. They look really, really good, really good as display models, but really impressive on the War Games table as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, everybody, just a quick add to this video. When I originally did it, I hadn't completed the Frost Giant. He's now completed, so I thought I'd just put a little bit on just to show you the Frost Giant complete. Decided not to do blue skin on him. I kept trying, but it just didn't look right. So I've gone for sort of an ice axe look, normal skin, and then snow on the base down there. So as you can see, just give him a little spin round here. As you can see, it's come out really well, I think. Particularly like all the sort of bone armour on his cloak and on his boots. That's come out really well. Move cable out of the way there. And yeah, it's come out really, really good. So that gives you an idea now of both of the models completed. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.